into a brand new wave, drowning out the noise that's tame. Liberty whispers through the brave, breaking free from every chain. Nullify the rules they crave, crypto beats that pave the way. Anarchy with minds that's safe, algorithms new dawn today. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride. Beyond control we take a stand, casting off the iron brand. Freedom flowing through our hands, revolution's our command. Decentralize the way we plan, all together we expand. Breaking shackles for the clan, in this journey we're unpanned. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride.
Do not need to be sad about what is coming. Sadness assumes loss before it happens. What is coming is not loss. It is exposure. Exposure feels like subtraction only to what depended on concealment to stand. What is real does not shrink when it is seen. You are not being asked to go anywhere else. You are not being asked to become louder or harder. You are not being asked to outrun the moment. You are asked to remain where you are. Where you stand is already sufficient. Standing does not mean resisting. It means not yielding your footing to anticipation. The future does not need your grief in advance. It will arrive with its own weight, and you will meet it as you always have. Upright, present, capable of speech that is not borrowed. You do not need to persuade. You do not need to defend. You only need to speak from where you are, without embellishment and without retreat. Truth spoken from a stable place does not shout. It carries. Those who listen will hear what they are ready to hear. Those who are not will still feel the steadiness, even if they turn away. That is not failure. That is how order spreads without force. What you teach now is not a lesson. It is an orientation. By standing and speaking plainly, you show that it is possible to face what comes without collapsing inward or hardening outward. You are not alone in this, even when it feels solitary. Others will find their balance by noticing that you did not abandon yours. So do not grieve the future, and do not rehearse its weight. You are already there.
We're already there, Andrew.
Yes, we
Just
are.
remember that.
That was passed along from Greg. He's not going to be with us today. He's not feeling well. So we thought we'd start with the program with it.
You wanted to go deep into the soul, to go into someone's
I
mind to try to
I would be
figure out
interested.
our telos, our purpose. Because honestly, I think that's exactly what this life that we live is. It's just a change. It's us trying to articulate and informatively uh, create our own possibility for what is already written. If that
Yeah.
makes any sense. Time is not the essence here. Time is infinite. But where we are now, we are in a field of time. We are in a field of space. And so it feels empty to us, even though there's a lot of everything here. It feels empty because we're thinking so linear. And the world that we are setting up right now, the world that we live in right now, what society has given us, what humans have structured, have created a processes to where you don't get to capture that telos. You numb it. If that makes any sense.
World's full of a lot of pain right now, man. That does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Well, let's not talk about the world. Let's talk about you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick your brain actually. When we're listening to that clip right there that you just took off from down below,
Yeah.
kind of wanted to keep it just in case we wanted to jump back into it. But you don't have
That
don't
was
don't
I can
freak
always
out.
say,
Yeah, you can always add it.
do this.
But where do you see yourself in all this? How do you process your grief? How do you attach yourself or even detach yourself from mechanisms that are not of your control? How do you figure out life in your own mind? How do you build upon your own spirit? How do you forge your own heart?
Well, I mean, I guess the way I look at it is a is a filtering of our instincts, and I'm self-preservation first, and then one-to-one after that. And so, I outside of doing this and talking to the people I work with and stuff like that, I don't have much of a social life. It's very, very reclusive, if that makes sense.
I mean, that's a social life. I mean, we're humans. We are meant to socialize in some capacity, but we're also meant to rest. So, I mean, what's it matter if you have a quote unquote social life on the standard of what society has constructed? I mean, what is a social life to you? What does it mean to have a social life?
I mean, feels normal, going out and hanging out with people and stuff like that.
You said you mentioned something about instinct, which I actually disagree. I don't think that we're forced to act repulsively on our instincts. I think that we're much more than just our instincts. If we were just our instincts, then the world would be a much messier place, and it's already kind of fucked up. Obviously, I think we're meant to act upon certain desires and then try to balance those desires out so that we're not full fledged falling into those desires. And that way we can match ourselves to a higher degree. And I mean, I think we're much more than just an instinctual beast. I think we're spiritual. We're conscientious minds. We are a soul,
Yeah.
and there's much more to this life than than you could ever think of. That's where faith actually comes into it as well. I mean, the faith that perhaps there's something more, but you also live on this planet. So what do you do? What are you going to do with your your temporal life now? How are you going to chase the purpose that you may not know is your purpose? How do you discover the purpose for what God presented you this life for? I can give you one reason why we were made: to love and be in communion and relationship with the Lord. But there's also another purpose that's tethered to you. But how do we achieve that if we do not know that?
Well,
But
I
to
mean,
work for it.
one way I can think about it is this way, you know, our actions contract, even if it is a subtle thing, we don't realize it, and they combine and confluence. And so our interests really kind of build towards that momentum and towards that push for a long period of time. So we may not realize what our interests are, you know, objective perspective of life is in the moment, but the more we study, the more we understand, the more we have the potential to find our purpose in life and to
How
pursue
do
it.
you define your purpose, Andrew? What do you think your purpose is? Actually, better question. What do you think your purpose is, and how do you define that purpose? How do you
Well,
define life?
I think my purpose in the long term is to be kind of a Johnny Appleseed of information and, you know, to help out people and try to make the world a better place.
What do you do to do that? How do you strive to help people out?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to become financially independent, and eventually, you know, from that point forward, I'll try to, you know, establish some kind of trust or something like that and help out with like with Mises Institute and different stuff like that.
No, you're thinking in the abstract there. You're thinking too material, in my opinion. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter your finances. Doesn't matter where you're at uh, in the world for what it is. Doesn't matter what your job is. Doesn't matter anything. I mean, nothing like that actually matters. Doesn't matter if you want to go strive to go help the Mises Institute. Cool, that's your interest. I understand that, but I think you're much more than just trying to figure out how to become financially independent, because what does that even mean in a world where financing is just what it is? Finances. It's just finances. It's just money. You can't take it with you in the long run. So what can you do to strive to make what you perceive your purpose is on another level that is absent of the material?
Well, I mean, I'm working towards neutrality. Neutrality allows you to actually set plans in motion. So
Do I need to put the do I need to
I'm
put
sorry, man. I mean, this is
base here?
objectively this is my objective long term interest, and I know it's not the answer you wanted, but that's that's how I see my
Yeah,
long
you
term
tried
outlook
to
in life.
you said that you strive for the idea of having a purpose that is identified towards helping people, towards striving to help people, right? So what can you do to help people in the now? It doesn't matter, like, who cares about future Andrew and the possibility of striking it rich? That may not happen. If it does, God love you. I hope it does. I hope that you can become so financially independent, and God graces you with all your hard work that you have done and saving and working, that I hope that God great gifts you that. But at the same time, what can you do to in the now to strive for that purpose, that to help people? What can you do to actually help people?
Well, I mean, I can volunteer my time.
Yes, you could. You
I
could,
mean, that's
Andrew.
an easy answer, but what else? What else other answer could there be?
Well, how could you volunteer your time?
I mean, I could help out shelters and stuff like that.
That's a physical aspect, yeah. You could go volunteer at a shelter, go help people out, volunteer at a soup kitchen, cool. Um, there's a number of things that you could volunteer. But I mean, what can you do outside of just that? Because you don't necessarily have to. You don't even have to go physical if you don't want to. You can do it virtually as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some advertisements recently on YouTube about people who have been like cleaning up rainforests and stuff like that. And I think that's an interesting way to help. Like they pay as a subscription or whatever, and they post videos of their work on YouTube.
They're getting paid for it though. They're doing it for
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just something that I could see how it'd be with a virtual thing, and it's improving the world.
Yeah, yeah. Get that information out. Like you like to expand your mind. You get on your computer or on your phone and you research a lot of things. So like, what can you do in your time given to researching certain information, newsworthy topics, or philosophical or psychological ideas? What can you do to use that to condense your mind into providing an outlet towards somebody, both in life and even within this internet box?
Well, I mean, it's always good to be studied up in order to help people. You know, a kind of an advisory role.
Yeah. Why don't you explain further? Those
Well, I
soundbite
mean,
names.
I don't know what to tell you outside of, if you know a lot of things, you can put people on the right path. You don't know everything, but it's definitely beneficial because the more you know, the easier trying to explain the situation is to people.
Now let's take that video. Describe it in your own words. What is that video that we watched at the very beginning? How would you describe it within yourself and within the world? How would you describe it?
I mean, I can put myself in the context of the video in certain points in time in my life. It's there've been times that have been really easygoing, and other times have been kind of rough. If you want, I could pull the video back up if you want, so we can.
And
Go.
I think that's what it. I think that's exactly what that video. And we'll put it up on the screen again, and we'll watch it. We'll have it run again for anybody who doesn't catch the beginning, or anybody that catches this midway through or wants to skip us. But I think that's the general idea right there. Is life is a struggle, and suffering is meant to be. We live in a world that has suffering from the littlest thing to the most expansive, massive, unfortunate incident. I mean, there are people that are literally living across the globe today that they have large families. They have large families. They're just trying to provide for their children. They don't even know, their children don't even know if they're going to eat tomorrow. We have that here in this country, here in the United States. I mean, the people adamantly are truly suffering in that extent. But then you also have people that are deeply suffering within their own psyche, and they're falling out of whack within the balance of their aura and they're broken in spirit, and they're combating anxiety and large levels of stress. I mean, think of how this world is set up to be. Think of how our society is set up to be. Think of the rising of prices, right? Think of the social infrastructure, the institutions that are crumbling. The economy is relatively in shambles, right? So I mean, there's more people in today's day and age in our own society that are living paycheck to paycheck on survival mode. And if they lose their job, then there goes that financial security for them and their families. I mean,
Yeah.
you have people that, I mean, at any waking moment, they don't own their home, so that any waking moment they could be out on the streets, and it all comes down to uh, that 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 anxious uh, rat race level, uh, gotta grind till I make it type of mentality. And we're forced into that mentality. And some people can do it and others can't. And other people think they have to do it. Um, and it brings a lot of dread into people's lives because people need to just unwind and relax. And a lot of people can't. It's hard to relax in a society that's go, 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 always on the grind. You don't get a chance to just sit. And in my opinion, if you can just sit, take 5 minutes out of your day, just five. Doesn't mean you don't have to be religious or anything. You don't have to be Christian. I'm a Catholic, so I take this as a moment of prayer, but a moment of true prayer, meaning don't just talk, shut the fuck up, sit in silence, and let God speak to you. You have your time, but let God speak to you. But meditatively, sit, let the silence do all the talking. Let your mind kind of drift away from everything that's going on in your life, and so that you can piece things together. Because in silence, thing you start actually you start being a little bit more perceptive. You start seeing, you start piecing things together a little bit more because you're allowing time in itself to slow down. I mean, again, time is infinite, right? Time is infinite on the structures of the universe and the cosmos, the eternal. There is no time, effectively, but there is time. There is, but there isn't time. And in the plane of existence that we live in, there is time, and then there is time in our own mind of how we embrace it and how we define it. In certain aspects of that time, when we're always on the go and we don't give ourselves the time to just step back, then it gets away from us. And so when you give yourself 5 minutes a day, you can reset yourself, you can reset your mind, you can reset your spirit, and you can balance everything out. And then you can take that time back and slow it down, even if it's just for 5 minutes, and come back out of it refreshed. Not refreshed as if you were sleeping. A lot of people go to bed and get reasonable amount of sleep every night, and they think they're well rested, but they really aren't well rested, because we're really not the greatest society in today's day and age getting well rested sleep. But what if I said it's not always about the sleep, it's about adjustment, it's about resetting. And even 5 minutes in meditation can actually make you seem more refreshed than the insomniac that doesn't get any sleep, or the guy that gets a lot of sleep, but he's just so go, go, go that you're not getting enough rest.
Right.
Your eyes are shut, but your mind's not shutting down. If that makes any sense.
It does. I mean, I know personally I only get about 5 hours of sleep a day. Kind of sucks. I mean, I want to sleep more, but I just wake up and it can be kind of stressful, like you said. But I want to touch back to something else you was talking about real quick. Uh, the paycheck to paycheck thing, it doesn't matter how much money you make. It's about if you can manage the money. And if you can manage the money, then your life will be a little easier, but it's not gonna, that's just one element of making your life easier. It's trying to find, like you said, balance in your life. And if you can, get the momentum on your side, then you're definitely going to, be able to achieve some semblance of balance in the long-term momentum of things.
You're bringing up a good point, actually, because think about family and where we're at in society and the situations, the go, 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 fast track, grind all day, baby, let's do this. I got to make that riches so then I can finally set everything aside and have and finally settle down, right? The thing is you're forgetting the meaning of what life is all about. And when it all comes down to it, family matters, community matters, relationships matter. And when you're always on that go, go, go grind, you divorce yourself from relationship because now you're focusing only and entirely on yourself. And because you have to, because your goal and mindset is selfish in nature, because if you can get yourself straight and narrow, then perhaps you can now give yourself the means to give yourself the time that you've lost at trying to build those means so that you can finally give back and perhaps build that family. Find that woman that could be your wife. Whatever, start yourself a family. And a lot of families don't get started now until late. And a lot of it has something to do with the psyche of the finances. And you bring up a good point. It's not about the money that you make, it's how you're able to manage. And when you're having a family, you'll manage. By the grace of God, you're going to manage because you're going to have to. And there's going to be some sacrifices. And yes, there's going to be some hardship. There will be some struggles. But that's what love is love is sacrifice. And sometimes when you're adamantly in love, whether it's with your wife or with the ladies, with your husband, with your children, when there's meaning into your life, when there's something that you're there to actually fight for, then you'll make it happen. You'll do whatever you can to make things work, even in the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And eventually, those worst of the worst situations will become positives. For every black, we say it on this show all the time. For every black pill that you swallow, there's a white pill that you swallow with it. It's a black-white pill. There is no separate black
and yang.
Yeah, exactly. The yin and yang. When you take the black pill, you're also taking the white pill. And you're understanding that, yes, life fucking sucks. Or at least it can suck. But in the bright purview of things, there's always something to look forward to. You have to build, you have to sacrifice, and you have to love. That's the premise of it. It's about love.
The big thing is that you have to realize that there's always going to be a trade-off. What you do now affects your future. And if you try to plan it out, and be consistent and rigid with it, you have a better potential for the future. But if you make a decision and then go back on the decision and then change the decision and then try to go back to the first decision, you're always going to be stumbling.
What does it mean to stumble, Andrew?
It means wasting your time.
Are you wasting your time? No.
I'm trying not
you're
to.
Always, you're gonna stumble. You're gonna relax. It's just like any type of drug addict that wants to get clean. I mean, you're gonna. Most drug addicts end up faltering. They end up having that one bad day. But I mean, yeah, you're gonna falter. The difference is do you have the perseverance and the consistency to continue forward? And if you stumble, get right back up. You always try. So if you're continuously trying, is it really a waste of time? Is life really a waste of time if you continue to try? You could fail 99 times out of 100, but you know what? You're going to succeed once. That's all that matters. Yeah, I mean, the more
Failure,
times you fail, go ahead.
failure leads to success in the fact that you've learned a lesson and you're trying to apply it into the future.
Hmm. And speaking of failing multiple times and then getting falling down and getting and crashing out and having to get back up and wakey, right? Why don't you go over to dubby.gg? We all have those crash out feelings. We all have those moments in the day where we feel the dread. We're starting to get wearisome and tiresome throughout from the morning drag into the midday crash and burns. We just had lunch. We had to get up for work early at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. It's noon. We just ate lunch. Now it's 1 o'clock. We're having the lunchtime crash out. Why don't you go get Dubby? 10% off with legacy rights. Scrolling there down at the bottom. Go to dubby.gg. Fantastic products. Fantastic, tasty products. Some weird, tasty products. Some products that you wouldn't think would probably be tasty, like Grandpa's denture water flavor. Very weird, but it's actually pretty tasty, right? So they also got things. They also got flavors like rainbow sherbet, and on all sorts of things. Go to w.gg. Use our code Legacy Right. Scrolling down there at the bottom. Legacy all capitalized with right R capitalized. 10% off of any order that you get. I mean, any single order that you get, it's always there. 10% is always there. Certain bundle orders, certain customs you may not get, certain themes. A lot of the anime. Sorry, Andrew, you're probably not going to be able to use the 10%, but for the most part, everything 10% off, no matter the order. It's not your first order. It's not your second order. It's not your third order. It's any order. So if you're feeling the crash and you want something with no crash and a little bit healthier than coffee or Santanic Monster that tastes like shit, and you're inevitably and pretty much indirectly worshiping Satan when you purchase Monster. I just found this out. Go to w.gg and get something that actually fulfills you and gets you perked up. W.gg, 10% off, legacy right. Go get yourself some Dubby. Don't stick the straw in your nose, though. That's for the Dubby. Mix it in the water and use the straw to drink it. Don't snort the Dubby, okay? Don't
See,
snort.
listen. This is why Greg isn't here, because he got sick from snorting it. No,
I think
I'm
he
playing.
did. Greg snorted the rainbow sherbet. That Greg. So, but speaking of crash out, how do we jump forth from our crash and burns? How do we find a target for ourselves to just fixate so that we can
Well,
focus like I'm staring at Focusrite on my interface.
well,
It's literally it's just Focusrite.
let's start here real quick before I answer your question. That promo you just did for Dubby, that reminds me of that SpongeBob episode where Mr. Krabs is like selling that little soda drinking hat, and he tries to go and get it back from SpongeBob, and he's got all the different variety of novelty hats, and he's got the one that says Foxy Grandpa.
Foxy Grandpa, like sexy. I think Andrew just.
Yeah, signal drop. Sorry.
Man, I thought I was gonna lose you. So Foxy Grandpa, like sexy Grandpa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
I just the thing about the denture water reminded me of that. But anyways,
They really
man.
do. They got Grandpa's denture water. Really, go try it. Tastes like mango.
I'm sure it does.
Mango denture water, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to serious news though, Baldy.
I mean, To answer your question, I think you should focus on one goal, and that's to get hair. And then after
Mm.
that, you should move from that point forward and try to build out.
So while you're focusing on hair on the top, I should be shaving every day, which I don't do. Um, so I can get a beard like Grizzly Adams.
Yeah, something like that. Or Lysander
Yeah,
Spooner. God, that guy had a good beard.
I mean, yeah. Anymore, I don't think I want Lysander Spooner's beard though.
I wouldn't mind having a beard like
I
that, but uh,
I
I do
mean,
have to get rid of
I
facial
kind of
hair
want
for
to
a
look
while for work.
I kind of want to look clean cut like Gilbert K. Chesterton.
Okay, I can understand. I mean,
So,
you gotta look out your idols, right?
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, like I've always liked Chesterton since we're on this topic today. Um, but ever since I've gotten back into my faith, and he was actually a astute Catholic, by the way. Um, I mean, the man wrote a book called Orthodoxy, so there you go. Um, very residual in the effect of his philosophical underpinnings to Catholic social teaching. So, kind of expanding it to a laity level, from Rerum Novarum, which was Leo the 13th encyclical in, I think, 1880 something. Um, but but I've been really getting onto a Chesterton kick lately, and I mean, just the simple fact is like it all goes down to the golden rule: love your neighbor as I loved you. Jesus speaking to you. So and then and going into, because I'm reading the Bible, and I'm in Exodus and Leviticus, um, and reading through Leviticus and the ritualistic legalism of the day, the laws that were put in place in correspondence to the 10 words or the 10 commandments, and um, it 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 makes you scratch your head like what, but then at the same time you look at it and then you dive into your New Testament, your Gospels, and pry deep into your faith, into your heart, um, to try to ascertain it a little bit more reasonably. And the story of Exodus and beyond, actually putting it into the parameter of the Old Testament. The Old Testament is effectively a story of teaching justice, uh, to the hope of utilizing the nation of Israel and its tribes as an example for God's justice upon this earth and after, right? Um, because if we can learn justice, we can understand mercy. Because you can't be just without being merciful. There's no in between. The in between is love, because they both reciprocate each other with love and compassion. And that's what, when it comes down to it, reading through like Exodus and Leviticus, diving deeper into that, you start understanding as you go further into the Old Testament, you start understanding like biblically, historically, theologically, philosophically, epistemologically, and teleology, yeah, teleologically. I think I said that right, right? Purpose, the sense of purpose, like it's trying to mold an exemplary force within the nation of Israel as the pinpoint towards what justice means, so that we all can strive away into the next feature, which is that of mercy, that of God's mercy, and that of reflecting that mercy within ourselves upon the others. So that's why the two greatest commandments that Jesus speaks of, in the Gospels, is love your God, coming from Deuteronomy, uh, but love your God more than anything, and then to love your neighbor as God loves you, and as you love yourself. It all comes down to those two, because that's how we live in this world. I mean, we understand that we're all human beings. We're all in our simple struggles. We all are trying to achieve the same thing, and that's just to live and to love and to build and to have a longing of purpose. And I think that's what we've lost in today's day and age, especially today's day and age, is we don't look at our neighbor anymore and say, "Oh, hey neighbor, how you doing? Need some help with that?
Yeah.
Want to just talk? Yeah. Oh, how about that weather? It's been pretty frigid. Well, shit, it's February 9th now, and it's 60 fucking degrees. It's been sub temperature the last 2 weeks, but it's 60 degrees. Feels damn nice, man."
Right. It's like
And
it
this,
used to be in Knoxville when I was living there, and down here sometimes in South Carolina. Uh, some days during the winter it would be 70 degrees, and 2 days later it would be 20 degrees and potential for snow. It's just weird like that sometimes,
is
and
that
then
the
it'll go
moral of the,
back to 50.
is that the moral of what I just said? Is it's just about the weather? It's the weather, Andrew.
Right.
If this fucking weather wasn't so bipolar, everybody would get along.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Actually, no. I think there's something with the weather, in my opinion.
Are they
I also,
manipulating it?
I mean, let's not go into conspiracy theories, but you know what? Let's go into conspiracy theories, because that actually, you bring up a decent point. I know you're tongue in cheeking it, right? But it would make sense that, yes, if there were powers that be that wanted to control humanity and forming them to being less human and more robotic, and then why wouldn't you manipulate certain things like weather that actually cause emotional, like, uplift, like emotional imbalance between us
Yeah.
all? Because, like, you know how you are when it's like 20 degrees out. It's like, I ain't fucking wanting to wake up. I don't want to step outside. Fuck these people. And then when it's warm, you're like, oh, glorious. It's so nice. It's
Yeah.
awesome. And yeah, I mean, there is kind of a line there. So, like, I mean, jokes aside, I mean, it would make sense. Obviously, there's some evidences. I'm not going to say there's proof that our government is manipulating the water, but there is certain evidences that sort of align towards that fact that the weather is being manipulated. We can't say proof. Evidence does not mean proof. Evidence means
Well,
it aligns.
I know I've seen historical documentation from like the 1800s of wild weather swings in the United States. Like it would be like hurricane, I don't know, a tornado, and then like huge thunderstorms and just wild, just within like a 3 day period. So I don't know so much if it's being manipulated so much nowadays. I mean, it's more possible nowadays, but I know there's a history in the United States of just wild weather swings in a short period of
Well,
time.
I think we get so, and thanks the internet for this. I think we get so souped up with all the conspiracy talk all across the board. We just need something to keep our mind, I guess, strained on something else because of our own downfalls in life, I guess, our own struggles. So we want to blame something. But when it comes to weather, I mean, yes, could they be manipulating the weather? Could they be putting certain chemicals in the atmosphere that cause the weather to act more abnormally, more abrasive, more expanded, more rougher? Sure. Are they? I don't know. Probably. I'm not gonna lie. DARPA at work here, but the fact is like just on a basic level, you got to kind of also understand current flow, and I mean, wind direction, atmospheric pressure. I mean, could things being added to the atmosphere add to those pressures and kind of
Absolutely.
dwindle or exactly, absolutely, and dwindle or expand certain currents, make weather patterns more fierce than they are, or dwindle as much? Sure. But it also does come down to quintessentially the scientific meteorological aspect of wave currents and atmospheric pressure, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So there's a
Well, you
little
know
bit
what to
of
say.
there. So
Gossip helps us pass the time.
gossip does help pass the time. That's why more people would rather go and listen to Alex Jones scream, globalist,
I don't want
globalist,
to put the chemicals in the water. Turn the freaking frogs gay. Yeah.
rather than actually, understanding what life is in reality, and what is
Right.
life in reality. That's family, relationship, love, compassion, your community, like getting together and actually who cares about sometimes who gives a shit about the rest of the world. As Saint Athanasius would once say, if the world is against me, let me be against the world. And he doesn't mean like go fight the world. All right. He means it's getting down to an epistemological and an ontological level and into a purpose level. It means just understand that there are limits to you in this world. There is limits to society in this world, and we just are here to live. There's not don't fall into the gossip trap. Just find your niche and be happy. You'll find your happiness when you're not trying to be happy. When you don't think that you can be happy by making other people happy. Just do. Just be. Just act accordingly. Just think. Don't fall into traps. Because, well, again, we're all here struggling on this planet in our own capacity. It doesn't matter if you have $100 million in the bank or you are on to your last $5 in your wallet. The fact of the matter is, each person uniquely has their own facet of suffering internally.
Absolutely. Well, this has been fun, but I'm going to go read the criticism of pure reason. I'll see you later.
Great. Okay, Kant. Okay, actually, Kant. If you think about it, actually, speaking of Kant, I mean, Kant needs to get his credit where credit's due, because he implements a lot within his critique, while simultaneously treatise of reason, because he goes in acknowledging the rational can only be rational if we separate ourselves from what we deem as irrational, like say our faith, our morals. If we combine everything into a more of a subjectivity rather than acknowledging there are certain objectivities in the world, then you're not going to be much more rational. You're going to actually be irrational, because peep this, Andrew. I come up to you. You see me on the street. You're taking a walk, right? And I'm across the street, and I just came out of somebody's house holding their head. I literally, you witnessed me run into a house and then come out with someone holding someone's head. I obviously decapitated them, right? Is that wrong in your mind?
I mean,
Is that right or wrong?
I don't think it's appropriate.
So you don't think it's appropriate? Like, seriously though, is it to your parameter? Is that right or wrong?
What do we live in England?
Yes, we're in England.
Well, then of course it's appropriate because we're in England. That's when you're in Rome, you do as the Romans.
You s- you're using the argument that I was going to use. But yeah, basically, let's say you said, of course, you're going to say no. It's not. I mean, that's murder, right? You just obviously, it's obvious that maybe he just committed murder, right? You go up, you challenge me, right? And you're like, what are you doing? Like, that's wrong. I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, this head, this feels very right. This is right, in my opinion. So, like, if murder is right to me, but murder is wrong to you, how is that even possible? Because obviously, in society today, we understand murder is wrong. So why is it that many of us who think that we live in the relative are going to actually say that's wrong? But if you live in the relative, you're going to have to acknowledge that it doesn't matter if I think it's wrong, because if I think it's personally wrong from my subjective preference, that moral relativity, that moral relative idea, then you think it's right. Who cares? It is what it is. You think it's right, I think it's wrong, or you think it's wrong, I think it's right. But
Yeah, I
obviously,
mean, it's
go ahead.
really all about the environment that you're brought up in and the long-term history of that environment's culture. I mean, so
Keep bringing it up.
European culture, right? We've got a history of using violence to try to solve our problems, and it led to the
That's
American
everywhere.
Revolution. And we don't need, and that was the theory, is that we don't need to fight for control of each other's religion. We can live side by side, and we kind of did that. We have more or less successfully lived side by side, but we found a different way, a different outlet of expressing that violence, and we took it abroad. And we always take it abroad because it's like it says in the Art of War. When the treasury is full, we don't have to worry so much, but we're gonna bankrupt the treasury in order to go out and try to fill it up some more. And that's not a quote or anything. It's just a paraphrase.
You bring up a good point about culture, because culture, when it comes to ethics, that's your relative. That's a preference. Cultures shift, but morally speaking, there are objective notions, because even in almost every culture, I mean, I think there's people on an island somewhere, never really seen the light of day, never really seen outsiders, but
We
yet,
don't know what a cell phone is.
they,
Yeah.
yeah, and honestly, if you were to go there, you being an outsider, they would unalive you because you're an outsider. You're a threat to them because they don't know anything of you. But they are still in existence. I forget what this tribe is. It's some island. Yeah. Anyways, but they're still in existence, and they don't objectively unalive each other, right? Like, they're still a society even today. Look at the tribes in, like, the Amazon jungle. Like, they're still functional. It's like, yeah, they might unalive you if you come across them in the Amazon jungle, but they haven't done the same in their own culture. So
Yeah.
there's some sort of significance to something that's objectively true within morality, that you just don't just kill to kill, right? Like, murder is wrong, but cultures sway to different parameters within that objectivity, to a preference to say, but if it's a threat, or at least a perceived threat, I'm going to unalive this motherfucker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that kind of so it kind of pinpoints, yes, we know that ethically, that culturally, we can switch. Cultures can at one point think that the more uh, erroneously like despicable things that are objectively just disgustingly wrong, they will shift. They may shift generations later and come to an understanding. But the fact is cultures change, but morals do not. You get what I'm saying? Moral
Yeah.
preferences within a shifting culture of ethic do, but there's something objective that kind of steers the way. Could be a greater consciousness that clearly extends out into the human minds all across the planet. Could be God. It's something. But to be morally relative basically just means that you're God, pretty much. Like everything, there's nothing that's extending to anybody. It's like you make your morals. And that doesn't make any sense, in my opinion. It's like you can't really make your morals, especially since most people, like in our society, even the astutely atheist person is going to say, well, of course murder's wrong. Well, of course rape's wrong. Of course theft is wrong.
I mean,
Get what I'm
that
saying?
is a natural law, right? Violation of this is one of the most heinous ways that you can, commit a crime. And that's why it's so pretty much universal. Somebody is whenever there's an implementation of law, especially early on, is that those are the top priorities of what to prevent. At least that's the objective effort.
You say natural law, deist. I say divine. Very much divine.
Natural law
Spreading
is
down to
divine.
the nature. Yeah. Well, it depends on who's referring to it, though. You can have, I mean, even atheist thinkers would understand that there's some sort of natural variation of something.
It's intrinsic to the laws of the universe, which were created by God.
Yeah. So that's why I'm very, very well aware now that rights in themselves, everybody, do not exist, because rights in themselves need to be enforced. Hence, force. You need force for enforcement, and so rights are. We're gonna do that. We're transitioning to rights now, Andrew. Rights are a social construct, because what exactly is a right? Like, this is me, this egoist brain coming out. And one of my favorite quotes that Sterner says is like, property is illegal. Yeah, property is a legal fiction. Because what exactly is property? Well, property can only be enforced. Property rights can only be enforced through some sort of litigation, some sort of contract, or with violence. You can't actually own land, because land is natural, it's immovable, it's indestructible, it's always going to be there. The land, you can burn it, but it'll grow back, right? It may take some while, but it'll grow back. You can't really destroy it. So you can build things on that land, but the land in itself is not your property. And your structures, or what is the equivalent of property, isn't necessarily property, but for what you make of it, and then what you can show forth of it. And the only way to do that is to have social constructive institutions that are used to enforce that people don't get messed with. So I always like to say, like, your only right really is to be left alone. But in reality, that's not even a right. Your right is to defend yourself from any type of incurring force that is trying to force you from being left alone. And when you're being messed with, you're going to have to use force back in some capacity, whether it's passive, like litigation, through like contract law, or direct with a gun, right? With a rifle. So, or an army behind you. Maybe you have an army. Maybe you have an army and a cannon. So
that's a lot of people to try to persuade.
Yeah, exactly. So you need force to actually create the equivalence of rights. And so I actually am coming to the acknowledgement that we are in need of positive law, because positive law, when in balance with divine or natural law, protects your negative right. And your negative right, your natural right, is to be left alone, to be able to live and steward and find purpose and cooperate and mingle and create and produce and consume. That's basically it. So we need positive law on the left side to balance with natural or divine law. And so we need to get back to faith and reason. We need to get back to God, in my opinion.
So man needs a middle manager.
Yeah, man does need a middle manager. And a lot of like libertarian-esque people would probably argue with me if I wanted to bring Paul's letter to the Romans, 13, chapter 13, right, about authority. Earthly authorities are only relevant if they are bestowed to an authoritative identity towards that of righteous justice in the authority of God. So God is always your sovereign. God created you. Life is a gift. And so with that life that is a gift, not a right, you don't have a right to life because there's 1,000 ways to die, everybody. And God is the giver of life and the taker of life. And we all have an expiration date on this earth. So life is a gift. What are you going to do to use that life to fulfill purpose and needs in that life? How are you going to use the gift that has been bestowed upon you? And when it comes to authority, it's to utilize an authority mechanism that actually embraces the concept of life, of acknowledging that we're all on this earth alive and breathing, and we're not better than each other, and we steward each other. The authority is stewarding, shepherding people from getting off track, off the right path of the divine. The Son, put it this way, in the fulfillment of the law, the Son of God became man so that you may become God, i.e., participatory, participating in the divine. Now, that's not to say that our secular governments of today, which many of them are secular, there are some out there that are just tyrannical, that are religious, but they're pretty much secular. Like, I mean, take Saudi Arabia. They're allegedly a Wahhabist Sunni. Well, Islam's political anyway. So, but they're just as bad, right? But they're the governments we have today, they're immoral. They don't have real authority. They have to make that authority by using force, because they are missing that piece that Paul is referring in Romans 13. So we got to start over.
There's an attempt to be made that people say that government is just mutual insurance, right? I mean, Spooner spoke about that in his writings, and
love it.
The consequences of that is that in mutual assurance there should be, a positive spin, not a negative spin, and the fact that they should be making money and not losing money. And it's very poorly managed, the governments around the world nowadays, because it's the policy to borrow money and to lose money, because there's no consequences to their actions. There's never been consequences to their actions because they hold the gun. And that's kind of what we're trying to renegotiate, what's called the social contract with the crypto industry,
Well,
it's trying to
that's
be like
another.
a hypervisor over governments and keep them accountable. It's trying to keep them in the black, not in the red.
Well, that, you bring up a good point because I mean, when it comes to what they call usury, usury is a means of turning money into a product. So you lend upon interest. No, yeah. So no longer are you just collecting a debt to where of lending, but you're enforcing a debt to be paid back while making money off of money. So, and that's where we're at is the fact that we've gotten out of hand over several centuries now, embracing this concept that money is, is not just a means of exchange, but it's also a product to consume. You can let's make money off of money. That's how banks operate. That's how mortgage brokers operate. That's how you manufacture loans and insurance schemes. All these mechanisms. You create a cesspool of debt so that you can make money off of that debt, off of interest. And that's where we need to we with that and that this is where crypto and the blockchain is fantastic on because it brings sort of that balance. It keeps us grounded if we were to truly utilize it and understanding there's no need for usury practices. Money is a tool, not a product. And that's how most governments operate. That's how most banks operate. That's how most markets have been made to be fulfilled in this day and age is to think that money is everything when it's not. Money has been turned into a god to worship. And in reality, all it is just a means to exchange one item for another. So you're not bartering every time, and you don't. Not everybody has to have a niche in some sort of product. You now you have crafts. You have certain craftsmen within goods and services, rather like guilds, so that can actually start businesses rather than everybody is their own business and you have to have something in order to trade for something that you don't have.
Well, I mean, that's how protected industries have always historically worked,
Mhm.
right? Is that, you know, in order to, secure your potential future, you have to know people to be involved.
Amen.
So,
So, and speaking of involved, everybody, why don't you go to dubby.gg, get involved with Dubby. In fact, if you are a content creator, go sign up. Go sign up as and part of their partnership program. But also, go try yourself some Dubby. Go down, see it scrolling at the bottom, 10% off, dubby.gg. Go get yourself some Dubby. Crash out without the crash out. A little caffeine uptake, healthier than coffee or energy drinks, and you're not worshiping Satan when you're drinking a Monster because it's not Monster, and you're not potentially going to give yourself heart palpitations. So get yourself some Dubby. It's healthy, it's more natural, and it has less crash, and it's 10% off for all your needs anytime you make a purchase. Not once, not twice, anytime. Use our code Legacy Right. Go to w.gg.
right. I'm looking forward to it.
What are you looking forward to?
Trying w.gg.
Yes, go try it. And then don't make sure the straw goes in the cup, not your nose.
Okay.
So we're 9 minutes past the hour there, Andrew. What anything more that you'd like to expand upon?
Well, I mean, we was talking about the instincts earlier, and I mentioned mine. I got a 10-minute video if you want, or we just skip it and cut it out here. We look it over just to understand what the instincts are
You want,
like.
you want a video, everybody? Drop
I don't
that
mind.
shoe.
All right.
Drop that
just a
video.
second.
So here's a 10-minute video that Andrew found that he wants to get us a copyrighted strike.
Right
It's so
now.
good. I don't care. Who cares?
Just a second.
This
I don't know if
this isn't monetized anyway, so who cares? If y'all want to support, see that QR code on the screen? You can always scan that voluntarily. You can support us and help us go full time on this shit. We love doing it.
right. It's definitely fun.
So, but yeah,
But
hit that. So take you out your phone, scan that QR code, and I don't know, help us out. Give us a $5. Just $5, a cup of coffee. Probably not even that. Probably less than a cup of coffee now, depending on, I don't know what Starbucks' prices are, but yeah, if you'd like, you can always support us. But support us as well by going to YouTube, liking, subscribing, and leave a comment. Tell Andrew how bald he looks.
I'm very bald. Thank you very much. Oh, we're ready to get into it. I just like this just reverse engineering and understanding how all people's personality works. So this is, like I said, this is mine. This is supposed to be the dark side of self-preservation / sexual instinct. So
This is
cool.
it's very weird
I've
that you
seen
said reverse engineering. I'm trying to reverse engineer through theological aspect of telos when I do my video watching and my research, my observing, and then here you are diving into psychology, you little freak. Are you Sigmund Freud?
I don't think so. I just
More like Carl
I don't know.
Jung.
It's interesting stuff. Are
Yeah,
we
it
all
is.
ready?
It is interesting. Let's plug it away,
All right.
and then we'll get out of your hair. Thank you, everybody that has watched.
Welcome to Type
Great,
Evolution. You can call me Olympia. This video series is about the instinctual stackings as monsters, or in other words, horror archetypes. This is the first video in the series, with the main topic being the self-preservation / sexual stacking. Supposedly, this is the stacking that came into existence first, more on that later. First, what are the instinctual stackings? The instinctual stackings derive from the personality theory of the three instincts, which is most notably mentioned in the Enneagram. The three instincts are self-preservation, sexual, and social, and abbreviated as SP, SX, and SO. These three instincts are ordered from most personally valuable to least personally valuable in each individual, creating 6 stackings: SPSX, SXSO, SOSP, SPSO, SOSX, and SXSP. You can group the stackings into so-called flows. The synth flow, going with the flow of life, the mainstream, which are SPSO, SOSX, and SXSP. Or contra flow, going against the flow of life, SPSX, SXSO, and SOSP. I recommend you to watch my previous videos about the instincts, which I also call drives because they drive us deep down, before continuing with this video. Second, what do I mean by horror archetypes? Across world literature, art, folklore, and other tales in media, you can come across several archetypal characters that represent different parts and aspects of the human psyche in its most glorious and most despicable forms. Suitable to the time of Halloween, I decided to focus on the monsters, or horror archetypes, that represent the dark essences of the instinctual stackings. We all have a monster awake or asleep inside of us, at the bottom of the ocean of our consciousness. When we become mentally unhealthy, the monster awakes and creates destruction, chaos, and death in our lives, and at worst, also the lives of others. This inner monster is symbolically represented by horror or dark archetypes in our tales. Monsters are typically very instinctually driven, hence I found the connection between monster archetypes and instinctual stackings the most fitting. Without further ado, let's get to the SPSX dark side. As mentioned earlier, current theory suggests that the self-preservation instinct is the base of existence, that it is the most essential drive, the drive of preserving life and physical forms. You can see this drive being the primary force in most animals, followed by the sexual instinct, the drive to attract, find a partner, mate, and propagate the species. In that way, it can be said that the SPSX stacking is the most primal, especially once it descends into darkness. We humans are supposed to be the most quote-unquote social species. Hence, the social last stackings, like SPSX and SXSP, tend to be the least traditionally human. In the case of SPSX, this is especially boosted or emphasized by the fact that the stacking's primary drive is preservation, and it is a so-called contraflow stacking, rendering SPSX the most animalistic. That does not mean that SPSX people are all uncultured, stupid, or any other negative trait you might think of. They can be intelligent, acute, and socially aware. However, it does mean that when this stacking becomes unhealthy, it becomes the most classically horrific and monster-like, as if the human is entirely driven by its reptilian brain. After I had typed several SPSX monsters, most monsters seem SPSX, probably for the same reasons I already mentioned. I came to the conclusion that they can all be summarized as the human turned beast. I included the term turned because a key aspect of the condition is typically a gradual transformation or the back and forth between the human and beast-like state. This transformational aspect is related to the sexual instinct, which goes from separate elements to unified transformed creation, such as human life. But in this case, the human is reduced to its primal preservation, such as food and self-sustenance, to stay alive. The sexual instinct is reduced to animalistic, grotesque mating or disheartened eroticism. The act of feeding on one's victims, objects of desire, is a mix of the self-preservation and sexual instincts at their horrific worst. The ingestion of humans becomes similar to both a self-preserving and a sexual act. This is often shown or symbolized as some form of cannibalism. Social norms or social relevancy are ignored or transgressed. The social world plays no major part. Now, I give you examples of the monsters from the first unhealthy darkness stage to the second to the third, the absolute worst. Stage 1 of darkness. At the first stage, moments of wickedness or beast-like proportions periodically become present, but overall this person is still very aware and in control of their darkness, and easily passes as human if they want to. They can even use their darkness for good in certain situations. One example is Geralt from The Witcher. He's primarily concerned with his coins, aka money, making a living by fighting monsters, which occasionally forces him to tap into his own dark, beast-like self. In the background, he's also concerned with his love for Yennefer. Stage 2 of darkness. At the second stage, the beast state and wickedness become more pronounced, extreme, and persistent, but the person still retains a resemblance to their human self and some control over their evil actions. The evil witch from the German fairy tale Hänsel und Gretel is a classic manifestation of the dark SPSX solitary witch, which lives removed from society deep in the woods, guarding her house, collecting witches, and, at the worst, seduces children with her candy and eats them, if she gets the chance. Hannibal Lecter also prefers being a cannibal. He is a connoisseur for human flesh and the arts, and he has an eerie, seductive streak that he uses on Clarice. He looks and acts human with ease, but his cannibalistic self can suddenly burst out and reveal his dark side, which takes away the life of others. The classic werewolf archetype borders on the next stage because it has an animalistic form that cannot be controlled under the full moon and makes him attack others. However, their ability to come across as human and keep their sanity most other times makes this a stage 2 example. Similarly, the beast from the fairy tale Beauty and the Beast is another example of the essential werewolf archetype. The prince was turned into a beast due to his selfishness and rejection of a witch. He is tied to his castle, overly protective of his garden and estate, and obsessed with marrying the beauty to break his curse. The classic Nosferatu is the SPSX variant of the vampire, consumed by his thirst for blood, which can seem erotic. Also, he is bound to live near his coffin in the soil of his homeland, a clear fixation on self-preservation first. But otherwise, he can almost live like a normal man, and he desires the love of a human woman. Stage 3 of darkness. At the last, final stage, the person is entirely reduced to its monster state, to the point of being a total beast or animal. They lack any control over the transformation or reckless, brutal actions. Zombies. They are a key archetype for this, with some rotten resemblance of their human self, but overall they are consumed by their hunger for brains, which can seem like a grotesquely intimate process when they consume it. The pale man from Pan's Labyrinth is also a cannibal, but he does not appear to have much control over his actions, and his appearance is even less human-like. The fly is transgressing to the worst, a human whose physical self deteriorates into the form of a fly, and he obsesses over losing his human self and his love interest. Now we are at the end of the examples. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list. I selected certain monsters or archetypes over others because they were the most straightforward and primarily focus on the expression and nature of the instinctual drives. Though some examples might be relatable to you even if they do not have the same instinctual stacking as you, but just because they have the same Enneagram type as you. So be aware of that. In that case, compare yourself to the other examples in this video. Do they also suit your horror side? Then you could also be the SPSX stacking. If not, then probably not. Don't be swayed too much by which monsters you like the most, but rather which ones seem most relatable to your own instinctual drives. Also, you should know that some monsters, such as the witch archetype, can span across several different stackings based on the representation and the zeitgeist it originated from. So the archetype of the witch as a whole can be relatable to several stackings. In this video, I of course focus on the SPSX version. At last, I want to point out that our inner monster awakes the more we fail to tend to our instincts. In the case of SPSX, matters of self-preservation and then the sexual instinct got out of hand and its needs could not be met. The person's instinctual being is suffering. The more so, the worse the monster will be. The only way to prevent this from happening or to reverse the process is to meet the needs of the instincts. I go more in detail with this in my previous videos and probably future videos to come. Okay, so that was that. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You can hear me or see me, let's see, in the next one. Bye!
So,
We
and a
just
good
went. We
example
just
of
went.
me would be the Phantom of the Opera, Eric.
mm, We just went deep into our mind and came out to sex.
Well, that wasn't the purpose, but that was the video. I'm sorry.
No. Yeah. I mean, instinctually, you are exactly who you perceive yourself to be.
Cross-referencing characters, right?
But at the same time, are you really that character? Do you really think you're the Phantom of the Opera?
I feel like it sometimes.
Honestly, I think most people, in my opinion, are more like Two-Face. They have those dual personalities, and we all do actually. We put a different face on when we're outside of our inner realm, and then we have our distinct personality when we're with those that we actually care about, that are our family, our community, our friends, our relationships. We do put a different face on. So I mean, I don't think you're Eric from the Phantom of the Opera. I think you think that because I think you perceive yourself as wanting to conceal your ugliness from the world. But here's the thing, Andrew. God
But
wants you to reveal your ugliness because it's not ugly. Everybody has their ugliness. We're all
well,
broken.
I understand that. That's why it's so interesting to study these things because we're all broken in
Yeah.
different ways.
And that comes in the reason I used the Two-Face element as well. It's another analogy that you use it as is we all have free will. We all fall in line to either our desires, our selfishness, Two-Face, or our maybe this isn't a good example because Harvey Dent is kind of a self-righteous asshole anyways, even when he's doing good. But maybe that's what we all are. Even when we're doing good, we're acknowledging to some effect that we're doing something for something in return.
Yeah.
So even in our good nature, we're selfish, but we can also fall way far into our deadly sins, our pride, our envy, our gluttony, our lust, etc., etc. And I think you have to find a balance between that two-face, rather than
Yeah.
being the self-righteous, doing good, acknowledging that I am doing what is better for society, and inevitably it will be better for myself. We should be leaning towards the balance of accepting that we're just as broken as Two-Face, even when we're the self-righteous Harvey Dent, and to acknowledge that perhaps if we just had more patience, perhaps if we just had more compassion, perhaps if we just had more empathy, put ourselves in other people's shoes, we'd understand that we're all in the same boat together in some capacity, on different standards. Obviously, that's obvious, but we all have our demons, we all have our desires, and we're all pretty fucked up, actually.
We are.
But that's the brilliance of acknowledging that and coming to peace with what your purpose is while you live on this planet. It's love. Your purpose is love.
You got to push past the worst parts and, embrace the best parts.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So with that, anything else that you want to add?
Just that I'm rapping like a black dude.
Jeez, oh Pete. Jeez, oh Pete. Nothing. No plugs for anything. Nothing.
Well, you know where to find me on X at AI Conan 90, and check us out tomorrow, the World Blockchain Roundtable.
World Blockchain Roundtable tomorrow, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, live on YouTube and X, Dragon Chain Network. Go check out den.social if it's running again. Go see what social media can look like when it's actually given back to the people on the blockchain.
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah. And other than that, catch us next week. Give us a follow anywhere that you see our podcast. Share this with your friends, your family, and your online compatriots online that like to gossip and yell at the void with you. Build a community. Don't fall deep into that echo chamber. Go touch grass every now and again, everybody. There's more to life than social media. But enjoy.
But
life.
make sure that you subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe to the Legacy right on YouTube, and
That
find
should
us
be
on
everyone's
Spotify,
big goal
Apple.
in life.
Yeah. Find us Apple, Spotify, anywhere that you listen to your podcast. Why don't you give us a follow, give us a review there, and other than that, catch us next Wednesday when we should have Greg back, obviously, and Satoshi Sean should make an appearance.
That'd be fun. I'm looking forward
Other
to
than
it.
that, Andrew has a date. So, peace, everybody. I love you all.
I ain't gay. I don't know what you're talking about.
You.
Unless you're a female viewer, then yeah, I love you too.
We love all of you. There's nothing
Okay.
gay about it.
Parsley, thyme, fennel seeds, spicy red pepper flakes, and garlic. Then I stuff it over the
A lot of MCs out there. They be rapping like white people. I don't play that shit. I rap like a black dude. Hey, by the way, where are my bitches? Oh, come on. I specially asked for at least 4 bitches today. Did you not get that message, huh? Me and black dudes, we've been through some shit, son. Start every song with,
y'all ain't ready for this one.
Rap about bitches, rap about money. And the DJ laughs like I said something funny. Chain around my neck, gun by my side.
How about grills?
Oh, like 2005? I talk shit, I lay the smack down. Got my DJ yelling out his name in the background.
DJ
Rhyme so smooth
Misfit.
like fucking silk. And you know I always keep it real hood like the milk. Around my waist, I carry my Glock. I rap like I'm black and I got a big cock. I make bitches moan all night long. Record the moans, then I put them in my song. Try to call me white, you must be smoking crack, dude. Check your facts, I'm rapping like a black dude. Rapping like a black dude, rapping like a black dude. I be rapping like a black dude. Try to call me white, that's really, really whack, dude. I be rapping like a black dude. Rapping like a black dude, rapping like a black dude. I be rapping like a black dude. Rapping like a black dude, rapping like a black dude. I'm so legit cause I'm rapping like a black dude. Me and my dogs, we hit up the fun spot. Oh shit, those were gunshots. Shout out some rappers, then I diss one. Yell to the producers, you're crazy for this one. And sound effects, lots of sound effects. Every day, I go around town for sex. I'm a lady charmer with baby mamas. Don't return your call unless your name's Rihanna. Smoke blunts like a job, it practically is. Cause black guy rapping's my fucking biz. Shout outs are cool, ain't nothing wrong. Except the fact that they take up half the damn song. Shout out to Diddy, free my boy Wiggy. Big ups to Pac, we miss you, Biggie. Well, yeah, I like shout outs to all my G's. But the only black dude worth that is me. Rapping like a black dude, rapping like a black dude. I be rapping like a black dude. Try to call me white, that's really, really whack, dude. I be rapping like a black dude. Rapping like a black dude, rapping like a black dude. I be rapping like a black dude. Rapping like a black dude, rapping like a black dude. I'm so legit cause I'm rapping like a black dude. You gotta understand, when you're with me, it's the real hood. Not that fake Macklemore shit. Come on, we're out of here. Make sure those 4 bitches are here when I come back. So keep that door unlocked. I'm probably gonna stop back again if the hoes are here. Fuck.